30 minutes. That's the window. Not to neutralize a threat, not to destroy a facility, but to extract a head of state from his own sovereign nation. You think this is fiction? The technology, the strategy, it's already on the drawing board. This isn't about war, it's about decapitation. What happens when the most powerful military on Earth decides the king is no longer safe in his castle? The world is about to find out. If you're fascinated by the hidden operations that shape our world, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button because we're going deep. So, why would this even be considered? The line is incredibly fine. We're talking about a scenario that bypasses traditional warfare entirely. Forget declarations of war. This is a surgical strike on leadership itself. The justification would have to be extreme, something that leaves no other option. Imagine a leader about to launch a nuclear weapon, with intelligence confirming the launch codes are in his hand. Or a dictator on the verge of releasing a bioweapon into the water supply of a major city. It's the ultimate trolley problem on a global scale. Do you violate international law to prevent an even greater catastrophe? The imminent threat doctrine would be stretched to its absolute breaking point. This isn't about political disagreement. It's about a leader who has become a direct, existential threat to millions, and time has run out. Executing this requires a symphony of technological dominance. Let's call it Operation Nightfall. It begins not with a bang, but with silence. A massive cyber attack, launched from a predator drone circling miles above, plunges the capital city into darkness. Power, internet, cell service, all gone. The palace's defense systems are now blind. Next, the insertion. We're not talking about a noisy frontal assault. Think next-generation stealth helicopters, virtually invisible to radar and muffled to the human ear, landing a small team of elite operators DEVGRU, Delta Force, within the palace grounds. They aren't armed for a prolonged battle. Their gear is for speed and shock. Flashbangs that disorient without shrapnel, sticky foam grenades to block corridors, and advanced non-lethal energy weapons to incapacitate guards instantly and silently. Every move is choreographed. Every second is accounted for. The goal is 0 fatalities on their side and minimal on the other. This is about capture, not conquest. Inside the palace, it's a ghost hunt. The team moves with terrifying speed through halls that should be teeming with guards. But the communications blackout has sown confusion. The few guards they encounter are neutralized before they can even raise an alarm. They reach the presidential quarters. The breach is not a massive explosion, but a precise charge that pops the door open. Inside, the leader is caught completely off guard. There's no negotiation, no reading of rights. A single command in his native language. On the ground. Now. He's secured, maybe even sedated, and hooded. The entire encounter inside the room lasts less than 60 seconds. The exfiltration is just as fast. As the team moves back to their rooftop extraction point, the city's defenses are just beginning to understand that something is wrong. But by then, it's too late. The helicopter lifts off, vanishing back into the darkness. The entire operation, from insertion to extraction, is over in under 30 minutes. The next phase is just as critical: information warfare. Before the target country's government can even form a response, the US president addresses the world from the Oval Office. The message is simple and stark. The leader of country X has been taken into custody. He will stand trial for crimes against humanity. This was not an act of war against the people, but an act of justice against a tyrant. The global reaction is instantaneous and chaotic. Global markets go into freefall. Oil prices spike. The UN Security Council convenes an emergency session, with Russia and China accusing the US of an unprecedented act of state-sponsored terrorism. The target nation is paralyzed. Without their leader, the chain of command is broken. Who's in charge? The vice president? A top general? Infighting begins immediately, creating a power vacuum that could lead to civil war. In the days that follow, the world splits into factions. America's closest allies are forced into a difficult position. Publicly, they might condemn the violation of sovereignty. Privately, they might be relieved. But America's adversaries see an opportunity. They frame it as the ultimate example of American imperialism. They might form new alliances, accelerate their own military programs, and develop anti-abduction protocols for their own leaders. The very concept of diplomatic immunity is shattered. International law is thrown into question. Was it a legal anticipatory self-defense action, or was it a simple kidnapping on a national scale? The precedent is terrifying. If the US can do this, who is next? What stops another country with similar capabilities from doing the same? Every world leader suddenly feels a lot less secure. This single act would rewrite the rules of global engagement. Sovereignty, the idea that a nation is the ultimate authority within its own borders, would be fundamentally weakened. It creates a world where leaders themselves are now considered legitimate military targets, not just during a war, but at any time. This could lead to a new, paranoid era of global politics. Leaders might travel less, retreat into fortified bunkers, and invest heavily in counter-special forces units. The trial of the captured president would be a global spectacle, but its legitimacy would always be tainted by the way he was brought to justice. The long-term effect? It might not make the world safer. It might create a permanent state of low-grade conflict where the battlefield isn't a country, but the personal space of anyone in power. The 30-minute raid becomes a new, terrifying tool in the arsenal of statecraft. So, a 30-minute operation to capture a president. It's a concept that pushes technology, military strategy, and international law to their absolute limits. It's a demonstration of power so profound it could prevent a war or start a global one. While it remains in the realm of what if, the tools to make it a reality are being perfected every single day. The real question isn't could it happen, but when will it be tried for the first time? What do you think? Is an operation like this ever truly justified? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.